back to the show. In this episode, as you know, a way long time ago, I reviewed Turtles 2, the arcade game for the NES. It was a part of the much fun and much talked about. I don't know if it's much talked about, but the very fun arcade game. Well, anyway, in this coming episode, I am going to review the actual arcade game. Although, not on the actual stand-up because I couldn't afford that. I am going to use the Xbox 360 version, which was published by Ubisoft for the Xbox Live Arcade. And it was brought to the Xbox Live Arcade because at the time, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was coming out. And no, not the Michael Bay one, the other one, the CGI animated one. Of course, they had other games as well coming up, but that was cool that they ported the original arcade game to the Xbox 360, and it was pretty cool. Well, anyway, enough talk. Let's get to those fancy credits and save and kick Shredder's butt once again. Okay, I won't go into too much detail as I reviewed the NES part of this on my earlier episode of Power Up. But anyway, I'll just do, this will be a much quicker review of sorts. So I'll just say mainly what's different. And I probably won't say what's the same, but mainly the different part. Well, anyway, here goes. This original arcade version was released in 1989 in the arcades, of course. Here, the version I'm playing here is the Xbox 360 version. First and foremost, right off the bat, the main bonus or good part about this is you can now play 4 players, either offline or I think the Xbox Live online, which is pretty cool. And also there are different, although some of the bosses, unlike the NES version, are different. For example, when you rescue April, after you get out of the sewers, and you go to that parking garage of sorts, instead of fighting Baxter Stockman as the Fly, you actually fight a double boss of, let's see here, Rocksteady and Bebop at the same time. So even though you can probably, if the gameplay footage is showing, I think I got my butt kicked pretty good, but was able to defeat them. And also, if I may note, at the end of the game, when you fight Shredder, I think in the NES game, since there was only 2 players, you fought, there was just the Shredder and his duplicate. Whereas since this is the arcade build, the arcade version, the more players there are, the more Shredders there are. Because for those of you arcade fans and NES fans of that game, you had to knock the helmets off out of the 2 Shredders, and then you could defeat them. Whereas now in the arcade version, in this original arcade version, you had to, if there was like all 4 players playing, there were 5 Shredders you had to beat. Well, 1 for each turtle, and then the real Shredder, which was pretty insane as a matter of fact. Also to note, I keep hearing that the Xbox version, I kept hearing it has limited continues for the multiple players, but in this playthrough, I keep hearing like, oh, you have 20 continues to use, but I could have sworn I used more than that. So, although I've heard there's limited continues, but I don't know. I haven't played more than 1 player offline, because I heard that was for the offline play. It might be for the online play, but don't hold me to that. And also, when I was playing the Xbox version, the 360 version, like they only give you 1 life per continue, So that was kind of odd. I don't know why they didn't give you more lives per continue, because when they also on the Xbox Live Arcade, it released the arcade sequel for the Xbox Live Arcade. Although unlike this version, they actually improved the graphics of it, but they gave you more lives per continuing, which is odd. Truthfully, I would have liked it if they would have given you at least two lives, because I felt like I was continuing way too much than I'd wanted to. And I guess if they added in like a second life, that would have been a lot better, in my opinion, of course. I have very fond memories of this game. I remember when I first saw this game, I remember I was on a field trip in elementary school to like a skiing place where we went skiing. And I was kind of like terrified of going skiing. At first I was going to go through with it, but then I like chickened out. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Well, sadly, I ended up hanging around in the main lobby area, or like the area all for all the trip. And as I was looking through the arcade games, I saw the Turtles arcade game. Of course, in the day, I didn't have any money to afford a playthrough. But I swear, I must have watched that attract mode like a billion times. I swear, at least a billion. I could be wrong, but that's what it seemed like to me. But I really thought it was really cool, and I really enjoyed it, and I just wish I would play it. Anyway, so fast forwarding a bit, truthfully, even though I really enjoyed this game. Sorry about that. Had to get my words for a second there. But yeah, I really enjoyed this arcade game. It's a really good port of it to the Xbox Live Arcade. Sadly, I don't think that you can download it anymore, because I think the licensing ran out for it. I could be wrong, but I'm happy I downloaded it when I did, because I love classic arcade brawlers. And this was back in the day when Konami made excellent beat 'em ups. Also, speaking of Konami, those beat 'em ups, the Simpsons and X-Men come to mind as well. And truthfully, X-Men was also released on the Xbox Live Arcade as well, but that also has been taken down, sadly. And I think even the Simpsons was on for a while, and even that's been taken down too, I think, sadly. But I could be wrong about the Simpsons. But I know the X-Men game was on there too, and that was fun too. I think one of my friends was able to download that, so I thought that was pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, I can't really, I would give a recommendation scale, but this game is no longer on Xbox Live. But I would still say highly recommend it if it was on there. So if you see this game in its original stand-up form at an arcade, if they're still around, and usually some still are, so hopefully if you find one, give it a shot. Now what's cool is, hopefully if you have a couple of friends with you, gather them all around and beat Shredder again, because I sure did. So anyway, that's my verdict. Get it? And also the NES version is still pretty cool too. So if you have an NES, totally get that game as well. It's pretty awesome. So if you see, as I mentioned, if you see a stand-up, pull some friends together and have some really good time beating up the Foot Clan and saving April and defeating Shredder and Krang once more. And as usual, if you live in around South St. Paul, Minnesota, or in the Twin Cities, Minnesota metro area, as usual, please visit my good friends at Level Up Games. I have, I think I have a picture here and some stuff here. So please give them a visit. Besides video games, they have other awesome stuff like tabletop board games, as well as collectible card games like Magic as well, among other things. Oh, and graphic novels and comic books. So please give them a look if you're in the area. And also, if you're seeing this on YouTube, cool, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed and you like what you see, please do so. And also, I have a Facebook fan and group page, and a Twitter feed, and an Instagram, and that stuff's down below as well. Anyway, I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for another episode. Power up!
Dead, young queen. They ain't getting any prettier.
Watch your mouth, blind ball.